Yeah, get that applause. Yeah. Technical difficulties ain't never stopped us, huh?
In an unassuming building in an unassuming part of town.
Welcome back. Juneteenth Music Festival, live on JuneteenthMusicFestival.com.
An untraditional way to honor history.
This time that we're living in right now.
In the midst of a pandemic.
This year, the revolution has been virtualized.
Juneteenth celebrations have moved to the internet. This year, though, a time of change.
Out of your home! Into the street!
Nationwide protests for police reform have renewed calls for Juneteenth to become an official holiday. In this 360, you'll hear from community organizers, a historian, a professor, and a state representative about the idea of making Juneteenth a holiday. First, some context. Juneteenth is the day Union soldiers rode into Galveston, Texas in 1865 to announce that the slaves were free, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed and 2 months after the end of the Civil War. It's also known as Freedom Day or Black Liberation Day, but it's not a federal holiday or state holiday in Colorado. In a small studio in Lakewood, the calls for Juneteenth to be officially recognized aren't new.
America has to acknowledge its scars.
But this year, with this momentum, a fighting chance.
I don't know, there's just something about this one, bro, that just rings different.
A Change.org petition gaining more signatures by the minute. Organizers no longer asking for recognition, but demanding it.
The more that we don't acknowledge some of our scabs that we have and some of these ugly things in our history, the less that we can come to current terms and come to grips of healing.
It's a dizzying time to be a historian.
If there's one thing Susan Schulten has learned over the years,
the history of holidays is fluid.
It's that history doesn't change, but the lens we view it through does.
The evolution of holidays in the United States is fascinating.
So even though there are moments or people we've celebrated in the past,
it would seem to me just as appropriate to consider whether all the holidays we still have are worthy, right? Are still things that are relevant to us. Juneteenth right now is an opportunity to realize that emancipation is still a process, and that freedom is only won when it's fought for.
We are behind the curve.
Changing, removing, or adding holidays isn't easy. Just ask Representative Adrian Benavidez.
We tried lots of different things to name it: Indigenous Peoples Day, Colorado Day, Election Day.
Year after year in the Colorado legislature,
this bill is about Columbus.
An effort to repeal Columbus Day. And year after year,
the bill is postponed indefinitely.
Those efforts failed. Finally this year, a change.
It took 13 years till we were successful in repealing Columbus Day.
If Columbus Day is any indication, though, Representative Benavidez says Juneteenth has a long road ahead.
Any discussion about changing holidays or adding to our holidays has to be a full discussion that we have.
And I'm really excited about it possibly being recognized fully.
Even without an official holiday, Dr. April Alexander says Colorado is taking steps in the right direction.
We're already seeing this year is that a lot of companies are recognizing Juneteenth. So we have places like Target, JCPenney, University of Denver.
To her, this is as much a day of reflection as it is celebration.
This Juneteenth, I'm tasking people to take that history, recognize it, see it, and see what lessons we can continue to learn from it.
But while a holiday would be nice, she says education is key.
Juneteenth is something that wasn't taught in a lot of schools. There's just a lot of stories that just aren't being told about our history. So I think it's so important for, again, people to learn our history.
All across Colorado, there are reminders of our history and our heroes. Holidays are a reflection of our values. The calls to make Juneteenth an official holiday aren't new, but this year, in this time, they're louder than ever. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.